Preparing to live stream the meeting.
Oh, there. Mr. Chair.
Yan na sir. Malapit na yan. Live stream na ba natin?
Yeah, live stream na tayo.
po.
Okay, okay.
By the way, I cannot share my screen.
Len, can you share the sa Viber? Sa yung background.
Okay pa.
Nakita niyo na ba?
Wait. Na-share na ba, Mr. Chair? Wait lang. Yeah. Meron na, Mr. Chair. Naka-live na tayo.
Okay. I just need my... this meeting is being live streamed. Got it? Alright. So, ano ba ngayon? KC Feb 11.
Hi, Vera.
Hi Mia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, after a long while.
Hi.
Hi.
Right, all good?
So yeah, Gursel, Mia was my colleague back in F5.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small world.
Yeah.
But he left when I handled telco already.
Correct.
You remember Sir Oka, right?
Yes.
Yes, he's our vice chair.
Okay. He's in the Palo, right? Still there?
Yes.
Okay. So how's everyone over there? Manila? All working from home?
Yes. Yeah, like Mr. Chair would always answer that he would always answer that question with "We're always okay."
That's a positive spirit.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, I think hang on. May audio na ba tayo sa live stream?
Check natin, sir.
Meron na, Mr. Chair. Naririnig na.
Okay.
Lang ha. I need you. Okay. Are we good? Audio to our mga kakwentuhan, can you confirm if audio and video is good? Si Miss Katrina Atienza, siguro taga CSOG ito dahil magaling ito.
Magaling yan, Mr. Chair.
So still, By the way, still I can share my screen. I cannot
Hang on. I'll give you a
present, right?
all right. Okay.
Yep.
Ready na daw. Okay, audio. Thank you. 7 hosting. You are on time. Loud and clear. Sabi ni Nudge Lee. Okay. This afternoon, before I give to the floor to the host, we have, if you notice, our partners have grown from 5 to 10.
Yep.
So Archer, Fortinet, F5, Gigamon, and Palo Alto. And we have added exclusive networks. Magandang umaga, magandang gabi sa inyo dyan. Good evening sa inyo dyan. Or good afternoon pa lang, 5 o'clock. Mandyan, Philippines. Sila mga kaibigan natin, no? Sila Nokia, sila Picus, Westcon, and Comstore. Westcon, Comstore. Our new partners. And of course, ang ating bisita this afternoon, no, is Picus, which is what we have been using already to validate our controls. This is the dynamic way of validating whether your security controls or security tools are working as intended, and that exploits from the web application layer, network layer, down to the emails and endpoint security layer. Picus is the tool that you need to validate whether you have 100% protection. And for the introduction of our speakers and his colleagues, later we will leave that to the host. So before we start, let's greet our viewers, our attendees, constant attendees. Good afternoon to you, Miss Farshana Mijares Maquilyao. And of course, ang ating magandang the ever beautiful Chris Razon is
Hi,
watching.
Chris.
Chris. And our very own Jerry Kawilan is
Jerry.
also watching.
Jerry.
And Lorenzo Anda, good afternoon. Kapix Pro, good afternoon, Kakwentuhan. And of course, Mr. Levis Orgil or Orhill. Ito, siga to, Darwin Lozuriaga. The very good in practical shooting.
Yes.
Yes. And then where are you? Hanggang.
Hello din kay Sir Jerry. Sir Jerry, hello.
Oy, hi Miss Mia daw, sabi ni siyempre si Seven Hosting. Meron, hindi talaga nawawala yung Miss
Nasa
Mia,
Singapore ka na ba? Are you back?
Yo, no. Are you back ba daw? All right, we are now at 5:06 p.m. and without further delay, I turn over the floor to our host for this afternoon. our board members and vice presidents of the national chapter, Mr. Alexis Bernardino and Miss Mia Miraples. Ay, nandito pala ang ating national president.
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
President.
Hi, Mr.
Hi,
Pre.
Mr. Chair.
Hi, Mr. Pres.
Hi, VP Mia, VP
Magandang
Alex.
hapon. Magandang
Good
hapon, Mr.
afternoon.
President.
And of course, our very able and very capable guests speaker today, Gursel, and of course, Chansu, and all the other guests who have tuned in today. Good afternoon to everyone, or maybe good morning and even good evening, wherever you may be watching right now. So, hello, Vera.
Hello. Hi.
So back to you, Mia and Alexis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pres. So, magandang hapon, mga ka-Pix Pro. No? It's Friday once again. It's 5 p.m. So, our regular Friday habit is the kwentuhang cyber security. No? So, we are really excited to be back, no? Since we ended the last session last December ng 2021. No? Sabi nga ni Mr. Chair, isang taon na tayong hindi nakikita kasi 2022 na. No? And the last week, we started the Kwentuhang Cyber by presenting yung mga na-accomplish natin for last year. So now, we will start again the awareness campaign of Pix Pro. And this afternoon, we are really excited because this is a very timely topic as given a preview of Mr. Chair, is to how to validate the security controls that we deployed in our infrastructure. Sometimes kasi we are just deploying a lot of security control, maybe hundreds of it, thousands of it. But in reality, we do not know if it really functions as it is originally intended. And this afternoon, with our new partnership with this technology provider named Picus, they will, enlighten us more on, how could you validate the effectivity and the true impact of the security controls that you deployed in your infra. So without further ado, VP Mia, you may introduce now our guest speaker.
Yes, thank you, VP Alex. But allow me to greet everyone first. Good afternoon, mga ka-Pix Pro. And I'll be the first to greet you. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope everyone's okay. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. So, please allow me to introduce our guests for today. We actually have Picus, and we have today Vera. Vera is actually the regional sales director of Picus. I worked with him before. So welcome. We also have the very beautiful Chansu. She is the field marketing for Picus. And for today, our guest speaker will be Gursel. Gursel, am I right? I'm not sure if I'll be pronouncing your surname correctly. Is it Arici?
Okay. You can say good looking Gursel or handsome.
Okay. I agree to
I think
that.
you are a Filipino, Gursel.
Agree.
Yeah, so Gursel is the head of pre-sales at Picus Security, and he leads the SE across Turkey, Middle East, APAC, and Eastern Europe regions. And VP Alex, I really like their job. They are helping customers to use their security devices efficiently because, as we mentioned earlier, customers, they do spend a lot of money buying security products, right?
Yeah,
But
correct.
the important thing is to use these devices efficiently. And Gursel actually spent more than 17 years in the field of cybersecurity with different roles, and his professions are based on both offensive and defensive security. And during those years, he consulted various customers or clients, including government, finance, military, and healthcare. So, mga ka-Pix Pro, let's all learn together. Gursel, over to you.
Thank you very much for this great introduction. So, and a very welcome to everyone. So, thank you for spending time with us this afternoon or night. So today, yes, we will talk about stop believing that you're secure. So I don't know how you are feeling in that way, but we will tell something about how can you validate this feeling by using breach and attack simulation platforms. So I have a presentation about this. I will go over the presentation. So if you have any questions, Mr. Bob, please stop me and ask your questions and queries during the presentation. So can you see my screen right now? I think it's available for everyone. That's great.
Yes, we can see it now.
Perfect. So this is interesting message, right? So it is starting with dear customer. So it seems a good love letter, but actually not. So this is not a science fiction. So this is how far we come with the ransomware attacks in 2021 actually. It is rarely only about the data encryption and thus interruption of a business anymore.
Gursel,
So, yeah.
sorry. They are saying that they cannot hear properly. Would it be okay to
Okay. Yeah. Let me.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for. Uh, so I assume all we agreed that no one wants to see this message in front of their computers, right? When they get up and mail or a note, a ransom note on the computer. So what should we do? I think no company is too small to have a valuable information that is interesting to the criminals, right? So that can be a customer data, financial information, intellectual property, or just the employees' data. So all these assets are critical and important. So, but hence putting our heads into the ground and think that what we don't say doesn't exist. It is likely not a good strategy, especially when it comes to the security. So, as a security leaders, we need to face this risk ahead first and try to mitigate them as much as possible, right? So, if you are curious to learn more, so this is why I'm presenting these webinars exactly for you. So we need to understand the dynamics of the challenge and how can we mitigate those risks. So small portion of the agenda for today. I want to go over the importance of the quantifying the risk. So I want to show why it is important to understand what risk we are facing and what impact this has on our business and ourselves. Then I will dive into the why it is relevant to measure an efficacy for your security control and how tools like breach attack simulation can help you to achieve that goal actually. So, and at the end, I will finish up with some thoughts on how can you best manage up to provide your management the information they need. So thank you for introduction. So this is a small summary about myself. So I will pass this part. So you explain very well. Thank you. So now we are having a virtual event, right? So the things are easier, but a question, what would have happened if we meet physically today? Would we feel comfortable with the meeting, with the dozens of people in the same room? Probably no, right? And we know why. So actually we feel the same way while we are doing a business. So in our business, we are considering the risk, we are investing the security controls, we are doing many things, we are hiring the people, we need to quantify the risks and we need to mitigate them. We shouldn't feel comfortable with the all challenges in the wild. So you need to ask a question to you. How secure I am right now? So this is the question we need to ask. So, of course, I know that it is not easy to answer all these questions because the environment is changing at dramatic speeds. And Picus Labs released a research. So this research includes uh, uh, 2,000 different malwares analysis, almost 2 million attack techniques identified on those malwares, and mapped to the MITRE attack framework. So this is a huge information. And what we see in the wild, so we are seeing that 20% of the malwares can encrypt your data. And now the malwares or attacks are more sophisticated anymore, and they are changing, evolving, and trying to evade your security controls. You need to think about that. So another key point is that if you look at the last year, you can not see the half of the techniques were available last year. So the things are changing. We need to adopt that, and we need to understand what's happening in the wild. So with a short skills, we cannot follow these kind of challenging things, unfortunately, by buying a security control. So I've worked in this space for the past decade, and we are in 2022 right now, and still we are talking about the malwares and phishing, identity, and etc. Sometimes I'm wondering, so if I'm part of the solution or part of the problem. So why I'm saying this? So because this is how it is threatening us actually. How can we cope with this situation? So again, question, how secure are you? This is the most important question from the business perspective. How secure is my organization right now? Not when we had our last pen test or red teaming exercises, but again, how secure are we now? So this is asking for now, not the last pen test results and etc. So it is again very, very hard to give an answer. So there is another perspective, which is the technical part. So you will think about the latest threats. You will maybe focus on how can you prevent it, what should I do against those type of threats and etc. There will be a lot of questionnaire on the technical side. From the personal perspective, I don't know what I don't know. So this is the right thing that I should say, I think. So, but it is starting enlightening something if you are asking this question to yourself. This is not a weakness. So everything will start with this sentence actually. So we need to measure the security controls. Why? Because more money spent does not translate into more security, unfortunately, because there are many things behind, like operational challenges and the emerging threats, business drivers, and the digital transformation. So let me give some examples about that. So the tools perform differently between the environments, or maybe technologies fails because of the misconfiguration, lack of resources to tune post-deployment things. Sometimes you're deploying some things and you are living like that. So these are the operational challenges we face. And when it comes to the emerging threats, so everything is rapidly evolving. So I explained something about the red report that we published. So things are changing very rapidly. We need to adapt our system and adapt ourselves to these changings actually immediately. So we are talking about the digital transformation, cloud migration, many things, but this is increasing the attack surface, right? So there is a larger attack surface for the companies. So it is bringing the more distributed workforce and assets. So we need to focus on that part as well. So if we are talking about the business drivers, maybe you will get a cybersecurity insurance. So you need to provide some evidence to the insurer, right? So and cybersecurity incidents are more costly, unfortunately. I can say priceless. We don't know what will we lose, right? at the end of the attack. And also, boards wants to see the evidence of the ROI. So they are spending money and they want to see some results. So we should talk about the metrics while we are quantifying the risk, while measuring your security efficacy and etc. But the metrics that don't reveal the whole picture. So keep on adding new products to fill gaps. But problem is just grows and grows. So resource to manage this doesn't grow at the same pace, unfortunately. So leaves us with a loss of technology that we can manage properly, resulting in more exposed risk. And the worst, we can't quantify that. So unfortunately, again. So how can we validate these technologies with the breach and attack simulation platform? And what is the breach and attack simulation actually? So Gartner defined this area. So it is allowing you to test your entire infrastructure by deploying some agents, some machines, then testing your infrastructure by using real world threats without touching your company assets. So this is a simulation or emulation approach. So what will you get? So as we talk, the threats are growing a lot and you are trying to stop them. You have your prevention layer, you have your detection layer, but when I ask a simple question, there is no answer. Like, are we blocking this threat or are we detecting this threat? So it is not easy to answer, right? So this is what we are trying to achieve. So we are trying to help you to give an answer if somebody asks this kind of questions. Let me explain with an example. So suppose that we read something about a threat group which is called a dark side in the newspaper, or that targets the organizations in Philippines or any Asian countries or any from any sector you can name it. So the boardroom thinks about the risk. They want to know if the cyber attack poses a risk into their business and if the organization is ready for this threat or not. So what will happen if they ask a question? Normally, you need to simulate the all well-known or NIV TTPs, I mean tactic, technique, and procedure of the dark side threat group by using breach and attack simulation platform. So this is really important. So I can give the same information for the Log4j, for example. Everyone heard something about that, and immediately they started working on the threat vulnerability. They started to patch things and etc. etc. So there were huge workload at the IT side. But why? Because that threat was popular, right? So everyone finds something about that threat, how to mitigate and etc. But what about the others? How many people are running after the new emerging threats and etc., finding their tactic techniques and adopting to their infrastructure? It requires an expertise. So when we have this simulation, so it will bring us to the next step. Previously, we spotted the prevention gaps in our security stack using breach attack simulation. Now it is time to fix in our prevention layer. So the breach attack simulation platforms will give that power to you. Then the relevant team can enable or apply these signatures to improve the effectiveness of the prevention security controls. Until now, we simulated the attacks, analyzed the results, learned the prevention gaps, and fixed the gaps. So it is time to enrich these results to gain full visibility of detection gaps and fix them. So this is a next level. So we will focus on the SOC operations right now. So while I'm saying the full visibility, so we will highlight, analyze, and whether if the relevant logs of these threats are collected or not, and which security controls are providing an evidence about these threats, then we get an offense about these threats, then we are visualizing the identified gaps to you actually. So a complete security validation platform can help you to identify all these gaps in detection and visualize these gaps and provide and mitigation suggestion and content such as ready to use detection rules for SIEM and EDR solutions. So now, how do we find the answer to all these questions? So we talk about the problems and the questions. Now we can move to the solution part, which is the continuous security validation part actually. So everything will start in an idea actually. So I will use an example. I briefly describe how the continuous security validation platforms are working to improve our cybersecurity resilience by validating the effectiveness of the security controls. So this is the process that we follow it. So first of all, we need to define the company profile. So where are we located, in which sector we are proceeding, and etc. And then after identifying the relevant threats for your company, we need to make a scoping. So this is the second stage. So you determined the threat to be simulated in the previous stage. At this stage, you define your simulation scope, in which environment you will test these threats and using attack vectors actually. So after you complete that part, you identify the threat you are going to simulate and which environment you will test it. Now you are ready for the assessment, your readiness to defend against it. So after the assessment is enrichment. So you gather insights, details about the threats from the prevention perspective. Now we will learn whether the attack is detected, which security control is prevented or detected the attack, and whether relevant log about attack are collected, is there any offense about these threats, and etc. So we will create a visibility around this as well. So you have identified the gaps in the security controls across the prevention and detection layer. Now you can move to the next stage where you fix these gaps, so which we are calling as a mitigation stage. So at this stage, you'll enable the signatures in the prevention controls where applicable, and you tune your detection detection controls like SIEM or EDR if they are detecting, or maybe you will write some content to catch the threats or offense rule to raise an offense when they see that kind of behaviors. So, you can work on these kind of things individually, of course, but that is the most important part, which we call as a validation period. So it will show the improvements you made at the mitigate stage are actually effective or not. So to achieve this, you need to reassess the same threat by using breach and attack simulation platform. So as I mentioned, so this is a continuous process actually. So it is not a one-time exercises. So we must run this process repeatedly in order to ensure that in that ever evolving the threat landscape, our controls continue to remain active. So let me give an example about this. So one of our customers were using breach attack simulation, and then they have a visibility about their infrastructure. So one time they called us and okay, during the lunchtime, I'm not getting a better score. My security score is going down. Why? Just for the lunchtime. It is interesting. So we manually validate that the results are correct. Then the customer find out they started to take a backup during the lunchtime over their IPS. So because of the backup size, IPS was spending more resources to analyze the files like a RAM, CPU, and etc., IPS becomes a wire mode during the lunchtime. So any kind of threats can bypass through the IPS, unfortunately. So that's why we need to have a continuous approach for validating the controls. So we are coming to the end actually. So we need to rationalize the investment actually. So we need to prove the value, identify the gaps, eliminate the redundancy. So if there is a technology gap, so justify the new investments. So because you will see what is missing and you need to focus on that part. So I would like to say some important notes. So first of all, please avoid the assumption. So validate your security control and measure the prevention and detection capabilities. These are important points. Please use the frameworks to benchmark your performance, like MITRE-ATT&CK framework, Unified Kill Chain. So these are well-known, approved security frameworks. We need to highlight those parts a lot. I know it is not easy to follow this kind of frameworks. It requires human effort, it requires a continuity and etc. But by using breach and attack simulation platforms, they can make your job easier. So you will have those information inside the tools. So the last things that I can tell you, please act on the results. So this means that when you see something is not stopped, please spend your time for blocking it or detecting it. So if you take an action on your security controls, definitely you will get the benefits of your security control. Otherwise, if you see the result, okay, there is a vulnerability in my applications, okay, it will maybe take so long time to patch it. But by using security controls, there is a chance to take an immediate action by enabling some signature or by getting an offense from your SIEM or EDR platform. So that's why we are telling you, stop believing you are secure, just start the validation right now. So thank you for your time. So if you have any question, I'm happy to answer your queries. Thank you.
Thank you, Gursel. That's a very, very well thought and organized presentation. No? So I was trying to take down notes while you were discussing. The one that struck my attention really is the findings on the 200K plus malware that you have on your, on your database, right? Is that right?
Currently, what we are doing actually, so we are analyzing a lot of threats like 2000K. So after we carefully analyze these threats, we are prioritizing these threats. So we are eliminating some of them, and then so adding our threat database. We are adding the threats that targets the enterprises and the relevant threats and etc. So our threat DB is around 11,500 or something like that. But
Okay.
that DB is also includes the tactic, techniques, and procedure.
Procedures.
So you cannot defend your company by dealing with the hash information of the malwares. It can be 1 million malware in your database, but can you imagine that if you start the simulation, it will take maybe 1 year to simulate all of them. So you need to find the representative one, right one. So you need to focus on their behaviors and you need to simulate based on those scenarios actually. So we need to be intelligent in this market because the cyber criminals always looking for new tactics and techniques and they are coming with the new ideas. So it is really hard to deal with the hash information. That's why we are not adding all of them, but we are analyzing all of them. So what they are using, for example, from the MITRE perspective, let's say there is a valid account technique, right? So This technique is listing the cached credentials on the machine. Very simple things. They are using Windows commands to list the cached credentials, but maybe 30 different threat groups are utilizing the same technique to get that data. If you focus on that technique rather than the hash information or malware itself, this will add more value to your company. So
I,
this is
I think to make sense of this presentation of Gursel, I'll share my slides.
yeah, please.
So why we say that you need to validate your security controls. So if you focus on this slide, we have here an exploit database. We got this from Picus. So this exploit database stores web application exploits or attacks, vulnerability exploitations, malicious codes, data exfiltration. And this would be your network. So you have a next generation firewall, an IPS, whatever you have. No? So you can actually use this product to test. For example, your antivirus or endpoint detection agents, no? Endpoint security agents here. So what this will do is it's going to send sorry. Yeah. So it's going to send all the exploits available. And then you will see right away if your next generation firewall was able to block these exploits, or your IPS was able to block these exploits, or if your antivirus on the victim machine itself was able to block this virus. No? Or you can also test something scenario like a lateral movement. No, if ever the attacker is already inside your network. So in that manner, you can immediately say that it is possible to do lateral movements inside your network, right? You can also test your email server. You can also test your WAF. You can test all your segments in your environment. So that is why we call this the dynamic way in vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, because there's an exploit database that you can use. And as mentioned by Gursel earlier, they have 200,000 malwares being tested, right? And that is your power. That's your instead of getting someone to try to do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, which is a very limited mindset, very limited skills, and very limited exploits. This is your power. No? So we always say that immediate identification of current security posture is very important, and this can help you. It also provides quick remediation of identified vulnerabilities. No? And very importantly, we always say that it's faster to block than to patch. If you go for patching, you're going to have to go through all the change management process that your company deployed or implemented. But you can always block. You will definitely know right away. For example, in this case, right? So this is an example of an actual testing. So you already know that the StegBoss loader.exe file download was successful, and that you only had 1% security score, and that only 64 was blocked, right? So with this information, you can right away talk to your security vendor and tell him, hey, I need to block this exploits, right? So you already know very very detailed the name, Noki Trojan. It means that you are vulnerable to Noki Trojan. it means that you are vulnerable to crypto locker ransomware. And no pen testers can tell you that. And this level, no, this one, when it's hard, well, yes, you're good, no, that your endpoint victim download a file from. So these are actual, no, tests that was done years ago, and that's the value of a dynamic vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. And you can do this every week. You can do this every month, or whichever cadence or frequency you want to do. That's the value of Picus, and they are growing. No? The number of malwares, number of exploits in their arsenal is growing. Just to set the perspective.
Exactly. Thank you.
Very well explained, Mr. Chair.
So in terms of the attack database, actually, maybe I should add something. So yes, day by day, the attack size and the numbers are increasing, but it is really important how we are finding these attacks, how we are validating these attacks. So actually, there's a huge power behind the attack database. So what we are doing, there is a honeypots all around the world. So we are getting the attacks to those points actually. Then we are analyzing them. So there is another approach, the hunting the threats in the deep web, dark web. So we are hunting threats over there. Also, we are following the social media. So most of the threats are collected from the social media. It is really weird. So there is a huge power there. And also we are aligning with the security vendors. So in here, I'm seeing that there is a Fortinet, F5, Palo Alto, and others. So Checkpoint. So we are directly working with these vendors. So there is a threat intel sharing platform between us. So we are sharing our findings, they are sharing their findings. So there is a collaborative working at the background. So this is how we are collecting information, then manually analyze all the findings, then test it on the real infrastructure. After we validate those threats, then we are updating threat database. So this is how that exploit DB is growing in a nutshell.
Maybe as an experience, based on experience, the log4j exploit. That's very recent. That's very recent, right? So in our environment, because we are using this technology, Picus was able to provide us 56 attack vectors concerning log4j. And immediately, we were able to test our network against these 56 attack vectors. So right there and then, we were able to identify and learn that either we are vulnerable or we are secure from these log4j attacks. You know, you don't have to guess. Hindi ka na kailangan manghula na ano kaya, no? Secure kaya ako or hindi ako secure. That's the power. And you know, it's also in partnership with the security technology vendors, because they too were very fast in providing the patches on the security device level, right? So in this case, we have proven that every time there are new indicators of compromise that we gather using our threat intelligence operation, we are able to test right away. There's no guessing in this area. We test and then we learn that whether we are secure or we are not secure, and that should be that is a very welcome initiative wherein you can respond accordingly. Right? So
Agree,
that's
Mr. Chair.
the Picus that we are talking about today. No? So better than hiring in terms of cadence, no? Because you can do this every day, you can do this every week.
Mhm. And we are not left assuming, Mr. Chair. No? So we are not assuming. We're basing our response based on the data that we have, right? So this is very, very good.
Yes,
Okay,
especially if your environment is very critical. You cannot afford to guess.
to
You
assume,
cannot
yes.
afford to just pray, you know. Although we pray, we always pray. But we also need technology.
Correct. Agree, Mr. Chair. Oh, may good news pala kami sa mga ano natin, no, mga kakwentuhan ngayon. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ang ayuda ng Pix Pro, no. So meron tayo ngayon, VP Sheila, tama ba? Meron tayong pa-ayuda today.
Yes, VP Alex. Yeah, we have 3 ayuda worth 2K for the lucky winners, no, who can answer the questions we prepared for them.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, sabi ni President Jen ng NCR, no, that BAS is a good supplement, especially if you have limited red team
Red team
capabilities.
capabilities.
Exactly, right? Because not all organizations, or not even majority of organizations, can put up a blue team or red team capability.
Yeah.
And this one is exactly what you need. You can do whatever red team, blue team, or black teaming that you want.
Right. And speaking of BAS, Mr. Chair, allow me to ask the first question para sa ating ayuda.
Okay.
So, the question is, what is the meaning of BAS, or what does BAS stand for?
Don't forget, #PixPro, then your answer.
Di ba Korean ano yan?
BAS. BTS yun, Mr. Chair.
BTS.
Uy, magpapakasal na si Yoon Bin and
Oh.
Siri getting
Dated,
married. Oo, they're getting married in real life. Jansu, do you know
Jansu.
Yoon Bin?
Sorry? Do I know?
Yoon Bin, you're not a follower of Korean telenovela?
No, I'm sorry for my illiterate answer box. No.
No. I'm just kidding. I just saw that on the news articles that they are getting married. And BTS is banned, right?
Where, Mr. Chair?
Korea BTS.
Oh, I didn't know.
I think I'm the only one. Have you watched We Are All Dead? All of Us Are Dead.
Not yet.
The Netflix
Watching.
series, yeah. Yeah, the
The
Netflix
episode
series.
now.
So for the information of VP Mia and all our listeners, BTS is one of the largest selling not just Korean bands but any band in the world. No? They have more than 1 billion views of their music videos, and by the way, so far they have been the only Korean citizens who have been exempted by their government from the mandatory military service, precisely because their Department of Tourism have quantified the loss in their GDP if and when the BTS is taken off the market. Imagine that. They've been quantified.
Oh my God.
Their multiplier value, no, in Korean tourism has been quantified. It's been put in numbers. The Korean government will lose this much if BTS will be taken off their active musical career and put into mandatory military service. The way other Korean artists, actors have been taken off their careers, and they have to put that on hold. So imagine that, no?
Mr.
BTS,
President,
by the way. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. President. So in our country, they've been harping about military service
Yes.
or a reserve officers training course. We should suggest that instead of sending people to military service, we just send them to economic schools. So they become entrepreneurs, right? Money is more important than you have the power of the purse, you can dictate.
That's true, Mr. Chair. Plus the fact that we are not on the same war footing as
Korea.
South Korea,
Yeah.
as well as Israel. Just two of the countries who have mandatory military service. So actually, it's a problem if you mandate military service in our country because that's another big chunk out of the defense budget. Yes.
Yeah.
So like you said, Mr. Chair, we need more entrepreneurs, we need more engineers, we need more farmers, we need more scientists, and less of the other.
Cybersecurity professionals.
Yes, and less of the other. So with all due respect to the other professions, we need more STEM practitioners: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which of course is a very good foundation for cybersecurity. And I was just, reflecting on Gursel's discussion a while ago. We always talk about the importance of visibility, right? And if I were to connect that to the earlier discussion of Gursel, yes, visibility is important. Absolutely, you have to know before you can figure out if you're being attacked or there's something wrong in your environment. You will have to have visibility over your assets and your systems. Now, add to that, of course, is another V, no? And this was well explained by Gursel a while ago: validation. Of course, it's important to have visibility, and you have put systems in place to be able to monitor what's happening around your ecosystem. But then from time to time, there is something that falls through the cracks. And you will not know if something has fallen through the cracks if you do not validate. That's the importance of validation, because you need to continually assess that your system is up and running the way it should be, so that, as like I said, nothing falls through the cracks. So that's the best way for those of us who are not, technically oriented or don't have a very strong foundation in cybersecurity. That is how you actually situate the discussion of a breach attack simulation into your ecosystem. And precisely because, as mentioned by Chairman Angel, we don't have, majority of companies don't have the luxury of having a dedicated team, to do that validation for you by way of penetration testing and all the other similar validation mechanisms. So you have here an automated platform which can do that for you. And the cadence, again, importance of the cadence, VAPT or even just static penetration system, you can't do it as often as you'd like to, because either time, budget will limit you. But this one, because it's automated, the cadence here is faster. You can do it as often as your system would permit it to, especially in a production environment. So there. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
All right. VP Sheila, I think we have a winner.
Yes, we do. So our winner is Miss Jennifer Arsen Martires. So the answer is breach attack simulation, which was also shared by our President Ace.
Congrats.
Congrats. So our secretariat will get in touch with you, Miss Jennifer.
Jennifer Ace Martinez. Taga saan ba si Jennifer?
Parang ngayon ko lang, Mr. Chair, na narinig yung pangalan niya dito sa kwentuhang cyber. Mukhang bago na.
Okay, meron ka pang ayuda question, Miss VP Sheila?
Yes, for our second question, what is the first step of the continuous security validation life cycle? By hashtag PixPro, then the answer.
Na-discuss ni Gursel kanina. Yung unang-una, first step ng continuous security validation, ano dapat ginagawa?
answer or?
Starts with letter P, but not preparation.
Yes.
Fixed profile daw.
Shortcut na.
Sinurkat na si Seven. Seven hosting talaga. Napapatawa tayo lagi nito eh.
So, paano yan? Accepted ba yung sagot?
Ako. Si VP Mia na makakasagot yan.
And then we have an answer from... Tama ba ako? Ang una ko nakita is si Lorenzo Anda.
Yeah, si Lorenzo Anda.
Yes.
Okay. Is that the second question? So, let's finish it already. Question number 3. VP Alex.
Okay, question number 3 to, napakadali. Bonus question para sa mga manonood natin, no? So who is one of the latest technology partner ng Pix Pro who could help you validate the effectiveness of your security controls? As a matter of fact, they are the ones who discussed this presentation this afternoon. So hashtag Pix Pro, then your answer.
Alright. Nanalo rin si Seven Hosting.
Okay, bumawi si Seven Hosting. Pix Pro, Picus. Okay, Picus is the right answer.
Yes, congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations.
Okay, siguro sabihan natin sila no na this is a two sessions topic no.
Yep.
For this session, this is totally new to everyone, I believe. And I also believe that Gursel is preparing for something more technical and more hands-on for next Friday's session. Hi, Gursel.
Yep, correct.
So Gursel would be showing something that's sort of a proof of concept.
Yes. More on a hands-on.
Yep. We can actually do this on our own, but we'd love the Gursel to do it because we are every month or every quarter we give a report to our board, and this is exactly what we tell them that before we are not secure, today we are already secure, and before there's been 1,000 exploits that supposedly can get through, but today there's just 0 or 1 or 2 or something like that. Okay, Vera, you have something to, would you like to say something to our audience? This, by the way, will be saved to our Facebook page and YouTube page, and usually we get more engagements after this video is uploaded.
Thank you, Chairman. So thanks everyone for your time, and I think it's heartening, right, that a customer like Chairman is talking about Picus. So that shows that there's a value, right? Because a lot of times we talk about what's our use case, but whether customer sees the value from that use case and solutions that customer has invested in. So I think when I saw Chairman's slide on how he's using it, right, it's totally aligned to whatever use cases that Gursel was talking about. So thank you very much, and I think this is a good platform, and I'm actually looking forward to next week's session where we actually can show you how the platform works, the UI, the dashboard. I think I also want him to show the reports which you mentioned earlier. What are the reports that you shared to your board, right, to tell you how safe you are. So thank you.
Interesting. And I believe there's a training that Picus will also provide. Jansu?
Oh, yeah, so for Picus, we actually have this, we also believe in giving back to the cybersecurity community. So we actually have this portal, call it the Purple Academy, right? where the users actually can sign up and register, and we actually tell them about all the topics that concerns defense, offense, right, ransomware, what are the ways, right? So you can go in, register. It's free, right? And each topic is only like an hour long, so that every user goes in, right, spends 1 hour to enhance their knowledge, which they can then use it towards their cybersecurity career, right? So it's our way of giving back to the community and learning more about what we do, and right, and how they can improve their security controls.
Yes, and we will also be having we will also offer that training via Pix Pro. In fact, we have a couple of trainings lined up already. Our upcoming one is with Gigamon training on February 24. So I'm sure we have a lot of interested members who would like to attend these trainings. We will be posting more information in our social media platforms. So stay tuned on the upcoming.
Trainings.
May nagsabi na. Please count me in the training from 7 Hosting PH. Okay, VP Alex, you wanna maybe we ask Jansen
our guest to have final words. Our partners from Picus, maybe you could have your final words to our audience today. Kansu, may I begin with you? What are your final words for our audience?
My final words are thank you. It was a great opportunity to be able to present in this platform. Thank you, all of you, for having us here. We enjoyed a lot. So hope to see you next week.
Yes, thank you very much, Kansu.
We
Gursel?
will.
Yeah.
No,
so-
go ahead, VP Alex.
Yeah, Gursel, for you.
Yeah, so I said a couple of things while I'm finishing the presentation. Actually, first of all, please avoid assumption and validate your security controls. This is the today's message, actually. So I repeat myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Oka is here pala, so we'd like to acknowledge the presence of our Vice Chair. Siguro for the BOD, Vice Chair, ikaw na magsalita para sa amin on the final message. I give the floor to you, Vice Chair.
Hi everybody. Hi Vera. Great to meet. See you again.
Yeah.
No, it's a really very great session, no? And I was watching about it. It's really around. I think a lot of times we feel that we are secure, but really we're not. No, a lot of times we feel that we are 100% visible of the threats in our environment, but we are not. And I think the way to validate our mindset that we have 100% security or 100% visibility or that we are secure is through continuous validation. And I think Picus is going to give you that kind of assurance, no, with their platform. So Vera, my just question is this available is this democratized for SMEs? Like in the Philippines, you've got like 300,000 SMEs or SMBs. Is it going to be available for different types of customers? Just for everybody's understanding.
Yeah. So we actually already have MSSP partner already signed up in Philippines as well. All right. So for all these mid-tier or small-tier markets, they actually can subscribe to our offering through this partner. Right. So either the customers, large customers might want to invest in them, but if smaller customers, they can then go through the MSSP offering. All right. Say maybe they want to do a validation every quarter or every month instead of having it 24/7. It's also possible.
Okay. EPLDT is your partner, right? MSSP.
Yes.
We are. Oh no, they are. I used to be when I used to be. I don't know if you have do you have current existing clients in the Philippines except
we
for
have
us?
we have a banking customer in Philippines as well. And we have also just signed up another MSS partner early this year in Philippines.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's good. That's great.
Because
Great to hear.
we believe that we need to target, of course, both the top tier, right, the large customers, but also the mid and the small tier as well, because they also need this control validation.
Mm.
What about if they don't have controls?
Then that's where I think I need to refer them back to PSPC, Pix Pro, because I think you have Palo Alto, Mandian. We all a community. It's about giving and making sure that they are safe, right? So I think the word, being safe, state, I think it's valid for both the pandemic as well as cybersecurity.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, I think, as much as possible, we need to prevent, right? So prevention is an ounce of prevention better than a pound of cure, or it's worth a pound of cure anyway. So as much as possible, you should prevent. But if you cannot, then you should detect as fast as you can. And then, you can enrich prevention after that. So, and I think, Picus will play a big role in these two, as I think you have highlighted the prevention piece and the detection piece. So thank you, Picos, and looking forward to have several. I think the training sessions will be very important. No, as we roll out more compelling training sessions in the next 1 year. Thanks.
Yes, and we have another session with them next week.
Don't forget.
More technical, more
More
hands-on.
technical, yes. Operational.
That should be interesting. I think that Gursel is made for that session.
Yeah.
Just a reminder for our members and our listeners next week, Mr. Chair, if you did not bring your learning hats today, you better bring it next week.
Because today you notice that Gursel is not very happy because it's not very, the meat of Picos is really on the action, right? That's the really the based on our experience. Based on our experience, it's really on the action. It's difficult to verbalize about Picos without showing you the real thing.
Exactly.
Without showing you the real thing.
They belong to that classic saying that says, in the case of Picos, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Is in the
We
eating.
will have the eating next week.
This is warm up.
This is so today's dessert. Next week is the pièce de résistance.
It's the wine.
So I think we have our friends. They're a bit late. Mr. Frederick Gonda, you're a bit late today, but we'll see you next Friday in a more technical session. And our constant companion, that's coming from Mindanao, Ipil Sambuanga Sibugay, Miss Cindy Chong. Hello, Cindy. And Bobet, you are late. You should be penalized. You're late. But as the Vice Chair said, it's very interesting, and it will be more interesting on Friday as we see Picos in action and, what it really does, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, maybe before we end, let us just thank one more time our partner Picos for
Thank you, Picos.
Thank you, Gursel,
partnering with us.
and
We hope to give justice to our advocacy by making everyone aware of your capabilities to promote and create a safer cyberspace for everyone. So thank you, Vera, and thank you, Gursel, for that presentation. We'll see you again next week. And of course, Jansu, thank you very much. And
Thanks.
we're glad that you're able to join us. All of you are able to join us here. Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. President, VP Sheila, VP Alex, and VP Mia. And
Thank you,
ating
Mr.
mga kakwentuhan, Mr. Jules, si VP Marlon ng NCR, and sila Lorenzo, and of course, 7 Hosting PH. And all the rest, we used to say, happy weekend, but in
Happy weekend.
cybersecurity,
There's no
happy lang.
There's no
Happy lang,
weekend.
walang weekend.
Weekend.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Hi guys, enjoy your dinner.
Bye.
Happy weekend, guys.
Everybody.
Hi, everybody.